Hey guys, we've seen the Azmodan rework. I've already done a video about it. I talked about the talents of the Azmodan rework, and we've gone over a few possible builds that I kind of was thinking about. Now we're on the PTR. I've played a decent amount of the Azmodan. I've tried out the auto attack build. I've tried out a Q build. I think he's pretty cool, but I'm not someone who plays that much Azmodan. So I don't really want to go through and talk about, oh, he's all good, when all the Azmodan mains out there are going to be telling me that he's not that great, or he could be better, or he is actually amazing and I just don't understand. So I decided to ask the one Azmodan main that every GM player knows. And if you ask any GM players who knows the most about Azmodan, it's always Procraft. So I'm here with Procraft, one of my favorite Azmodan players. Again, all the GMs know him. Procraft, how about you introduce yourself just a little bit?
Sure. Well, hey guys, hey Paradox. So thank you for having me here. I'm Procraft. I have right about now a little over 2,000-ish Phasmo games, 2,300 I think it is. I've been playing Phasmo for about 3 years, and you know, I've seen all his ups and downs. I remember a couple years ago he was completely different, and currently now he's completely different, and in a week or two he'll be even more completely different. So as of right now, I believe I am technically the highest ranked GM Azmo main, in NA at least. So that's about my background. And today I just really want to show off the Azmo rework, some of the really cool things that Blizzard has done with him, and some things like areas where they could improve, some issues that I have with it. And some things that I like about it. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I do have some questions before I'm going to have you just go and show us everything about Azmodan. I just have a few questions for you. So the first one is the reason that Blizzard was actually doing this rework for Azmodan, and they've talked about this before. One of the major reasons, and I'm sure you've already heard this, is that they felt like when he was in his Q build, his Globe of Annihilation build, there was no need to ever use his laser, and it felt like you never really needed to use his W either. It was just kind of using your Q. Same thing with his E build. His full E build, it just wasn't worth your mana to even ever cast your Q ability. Do you feel like with this new rework they've kind of answered that question, that problem that they had?
Yeah, so I'll use past tense because maybe by the time you're watching this video, it'll be out. So the way old Azmo is now, yeah, currently in my Hero League games, you know, I'm only using Q, and if I'm using full Q build, which is the standard dunk build, you know, you're just going for massive, you know, hard-hitting dunks, and you hardly ever use your laser. The only time you really use your laser is when an Illidan's diving on your team, or somebody's diving with low CC, really. And you honestly don't even use it to siege unless you have, like, mana to spare for days. It's just way too costly to be using your laser if you're not using laser build right now. And yeah, like you said, yeah, if you went full laser build, your Q is useless. Your Q is absolutely useless. Yeah, like you said, it's not even worth the cast, and vice versa. But now, at least in all the games I've played so far, Azmodan has a lot less mana issues, especially early on, which is huge. The mana cost for his minions been reduced, so you can use that more liberally. And the mana cost for his E right now is great. It's fantastic. It costs 30 mana straight up, and you get a nice, I think level 1, it's about 600 damage off. Point and click 600 damage in 2.5 seconds. That's crazy. That's awesome. For only 30 mana. So that's amazing. Yeah, they've definitely addressed some of the mana issues that Azmo previously had. Which is great.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Honestly, I was the same way. Like I would go play Azmodan, and like Q build was fun to just on huge maps to just be able to like wipe out waves in multiple areas, and E build is always fun when you just kind of could AFK push.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing you in this game, and it's true. Like you'll toss a Q on people, and you'll immediately start using E as well, and it seems like you're really using all of your abilities.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, especially now with this new Azmo, I can cast E off cooldown without even thinking twice about it. It's just so much value right now, which I love. If there's my most favorite thing about this rework, not only the baseline stacking quest, which we'll get to later, is probably this E, because, you know, in the previous Azmo, you know, I'd barely be using E for more than 3 seconds. So this helps you get a lot more damage off for what you used to do. So it's really nice. It's much more versatile.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. The next question I have for you is, one of the other reasons why Blizzard said that they were reworking Azmodan was because of his build variety was really, really weak. And they explained that essentially in pro play, his Q build was the only thing that was ever used, and that Q build also kind of reigned supreme in Hero League. While we did see the laser build have a slightly higher win rate on hot slogs in most ranks, overall it came down to just the Q build. Do you feel like they may, and this question may be a little early to answer because we don't know the tuning of everything, but do you feel like there's more builds now on Azmodan?
So far, what I've been experimenting with, some of the new builds that he has seem really nice and refreshing. And yeah, I feel like he has at least 2 or maybe even 3 technical possible viable builds. One being, you know, standard team fight auto attack dunk, and then there's some form of a laser hybrid later on. And with some of the talents, it looks like you may be even able to pull off like a demon warrior type build right now. And there's a lot of different options for, you know, what map you're on that you can use to stack with level 1. So whichever the situation that you need, you can take the appropriate corresponding level 1. If you need more wave clear, maybe it's Towers of Doom. You might be able to take what is it called, Greed, I believe, the extra minion damage. And you know, you're able to take Wrath for great team fight auto attack battles. And so in terms of the ult, I'm still a little wishy-washy on the ult. The new Tide of Sin ult, which I want to talk about later, seems to be what you're supposed to be taking every game, but with the recent rework of Demonic Invasion, functions a little better in team fights now, so you may be able to swap those out. And your level 20, you may actually be able to take almost any of the 3 level 20s, besides his level 20 Demonic Invasion. Seriously, in Hero League, you may actually be able to consider almost all 3 of them. Trample is really cool. They showed that off in the video, actually. Trample, where he dashes forward a short distance. I think it could use a little bit of a buff, but because I actually want to take it, it looks cool. Like, I actually want to see that, like, in my Hero League games. And it looks, you can make some plays with it. That could lead to some serious, like, really cool plays. But yeah, overall, I feel like there's definitely more options than there was before. There's definitely at least a few options.
And I love to hear that. I really do. I think that's some of the things that really worries me about some reworks. I personally main Tassadar for many seasons, and then they did rework after rework after rework, and now I'm like, I just feel like he only has one build. And so sometimes the reworks can scare me a little bit. So I'm glad to hear that.
Right. I understand, yeah.
The other one that I really wanted to ask is the final reason that Blizzard gave for giving many reworks to certain heroes is they wanted the heroes to be more engaging and more fun. And while this is a very subjective question, do you feel like this build is fun?
Absolutely. These new talents, specifically my 1 in 7 combo, Wrath and Bombardment, is so much more engaging. I can't tell you how much more engaging it is as opposed to the older build. I know in the past you could still micromanage your Blackpool auto attacks and your Blackpool Sin's Grasp in previous Azmo, but now you know, you start to get hands-on. It feels more hands-on, you know. Because you're trying to weave in your autos and you're trying to hit multiple targets with your autos. So he's not just simply, you know, a super far backline siege hero where you're not even in the fight lobbing dunks from across the map. You're more together with the team, you know, in the front line, you know, bobbing and weaving in your autos to all the enemies. So yeah, he's definitely more. I'd say if I could sum it up, he's less super long range and more kind of mid-range, like a mid-range team fighter. So he seems much more useful in team fights. Like there's so many more things that you can use to fight the enemy team when both teams are going at it 5v5. So yeah, absolutely. This build, the mainline build, absolutely seems much more engaging.
I mean, that's awesome to hear. It really is. Like, I mean, I'm definitely excited for that. And you seem really optimistic about the changes that they've made so far. But is there anything that kind of bothers you about the rework?
Right, I'm so glad you asked. So first of all, I've been asking for this rework for so long. So I can't just say like, why'd you rework Azmodan? Because I've been wanting this for over a year. I've literally been wanting Azmodan to be reworked for over a year now. And I'm so when I got the news that Az was coming out, I got so excited. And so overall, I just want to say thank you for actually reworking Azmodan Blizzard. It's beautiful. There are just a couple things that I have some issues with. So first of all, like I said, you know, the new builds, the baseline quest is amazing. Giving Azmodan a baseline quest is so important. It's just so important. And they finally did. They gave him extra dunk speed and reduced cast time on dunk. The main problems that I have, I feel like the fact that your dunk is now visible to the enemy heroes much sooner, that's pretty problem. Even though they still gave Azmodan baseline speed, a baseline missile speed increase, it's still not enough to compensate for the the fact that dunk is revealed sooner to the enemy team. You know, I'm almost never, especially because when I'm playing in a Grandmaster game, for example, I'm never going to be able to touch Genji. I'm never going to be able to touch even Li Ming, for example, especially the farther away I go, because they have so much more time to react. It'll be almost impossible for me to hit them without some form of CC. So I do wish that either maybe give us an option, maybe give us, you know, like more hidden, you know, the dunk is hidden to the enemy team for longer. Either increase missile speed or reduce cast time. Maybe kind of work that in, like, so it's possible for me to get. Maybe for my level 1 quest, when I have 400 stacks, maybe you could throw that in. I don't know. You may be able to work it somewhere into the build.
What about possibly on Gluttony, which is the current talent for focusing on hitting enemy heroes? Because as we have, Wrath is more auto attack based, so if you miss your Q, no big deal. You're still going to hit really hard with auto attacks. Greed is minion based, so maybe put a small piece in Gluttony where if you get 100 stacks, it makes it to where it reveals 50% slower.
Yeah, that's a great thought. There's not one answer for what you could do to him. That's a great thought, and that would actually make sense. You know, right now I took grass, so at auto attacks, you know, my auto attacks can't miss unless I'm blinded. So yeah, that'd be great. You know, if Gluttony offered that, that'd be much more enticing to take Gluttony. It would actually increase build diversity there, because, you know, maybe I'd be hit the, you know, the slippery backliners. Maybe I want to be hitting those guys, or maybe I don't need to. Maybe I can just take this auto attack. Yeah, that's a great alternative. Yeah, and so other than that, I think the biggest issue would be his new ult. You see how I've taken Tide of Sin? This is the new form of, or what was previously called Black Pool. And so if we're just looking at this ult compared to the old ult, a charge has been removed, 10 seconds has been added to the cooldown. On top of that, there's been a 25% decrease in damage. It used to be 75% increased damage from all sources, and now it's 50% from only your Q. The only thing that's better about this ult is the fact that you can actually save 20 mana. I think it's a net 20 mana from your old, you know, Blackpool Q compared to this Blackpool Q. You save about 20 mana. I think this is just way too hard of a nerf for Azmodan right now. I really think that they could definitely do more with this, whether it be something like a Kel'Thas passive, you know, rather than just empowering your dunk straight up 50% damage steroid. You could empower other abilities, so you could use it on your dunk, you could use it on your minion, maybe to create a form of super minion, or you could use it on your laser to make like a super powerful laser, I don't know, that heals you baseline, or you could use it on your passive, which, I don't know, you could go crazy with that, make another super minion or something. I don't know, it's just an idea here. The point being, I feel like Tide of Sin is too weak to be even called an ult right now. I really wish they'd do something with this rather than just a plain and simple 50% damage steroid, because really it's not even that much of an ultimate right now. It's, you know, a glorified active, if anything, just simple 50% damage. And with old Azmo used to revolve completely around level 10. But with new Azmo right now, you know, it seems to be the exact opposite. He literally revolves around everything besides level 10 now. You know, I'm looking forward to my level 1, 4, and 7 talent. And, you know, even 13 and 16 are more noticeable than 10 at some times. So, yeah, it really, I just, that fascinated me how the power has shifted. Oh, and I don't know if you saw that right here, but that's me using Wrath Bombardment combo, getting an auto, or getting a dunk, and then landing an auto on the hero. This combo is crazy. This is one of my favorite combos. This is actually satisfying. I'm so happy they did this. Like, this is actually fun to use. Wrath and Bombardment, because that also increases you know, your skill cap with Azmo and how you hit your auto attacks and stuff. I think there's another point in this video where I do something like that, so I'll slow it down for that. But yeah. So I feel like they could definitely change up Titusson a bit. I really feel like that ult needs to be relooked at and reconsidered.
I could definitely agree with that. The Titusson, I kind of said the same thing. I believe in one of the video I did for this, I think I said something along the lines of, I thought that Pool felt awkward to use for new players because you always had to set it on yourself, but once you set a key binding or something, so it always just insta-casted it beneath you. But the thing that I always thought was weird is, like, I would use Titusson, or not Titusson, I would use the Pool, and then he used to have, like, this damage over time ability, activatable, plus his laser, and you could combine both of those and, like, melt someone.
Right,
and, like,
yeah.
I remember you used to be able to use it for more than just your Q. So
exactly.
I did think it was kind of a strange change, but, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they end up adjusting it a little bit, changing it around. I just had one last question before we can kind of discuss the rest of this game, and you can kind of just go through and explain the build you went and all that. But my question is essentially, what do you think is going to be the pro build? Seeing as right now it's the Q build, what do you think is going to be like the pro build that's used in HEC, that's used in Hero League? What, like, as of how much you played with him on the PTR and your expertise with this hero, what do you think is going to be the main builds, and what do you think their main purposes are going to be?
Right. So if we're playing our best, we want the greatest chance we have of winning almost any game. Not really map specific. I believe if you go Wrath, don't do what I took in this video. I was testing. I was just messing around, experimenting with some level 4s. Wrath, Battleborn. Battleborn is amazing here. That cooldown reduction is actually really good. In your new passive with Battleborn, I actually like that more than old Azmo passive. Yeah, it's so much more interactive, and it's amazing. It gives you so much more value. So you're gonna want Wrath, Battleborn, Bombardment to synergize with Wrath. Right now, I believe it's best for you just to take Titusson until I think they take a look at this all. And then there's Sedea's Kiss at level 13, followed by, what's it called? Sin's Grasp, the new Sin's Grasp. So that's a nice laser hybrid talent in Pride at level 20. Pride is just general, all around, just seems like a solid level 20, solid late game power spike. And that could vary. You could vary it up. You know, your 13, 16, and 20. You may even be able to take the level 20 Blackpool upgrade. You know, with a lot of CC, Mosh Pit, Ring of Frost, it may synergize really well with that, like in super high play. But yeah, your main talents being Wrath, Battleborn, Bombardment, and Tide of Sin.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of thinking something similar along the lines of Pride would be more of a selfish answer where you're not really sure if your team's going to be able to follow up. And Blackpool would be if you're with a coordinated team that you know they're going to lock down someone, they're going to follow up the kill, so you just need to cut their armor down. So I really like I definitely like that. I agree. Like when I first was, my first video, when I saw this rework, I was like, Wrath and Bombardment look amazing.
Yes.
And Battleborn, the fact that triggers on minion auto attacks too. It just says auto attacks, basic attacks. So it doesn't need to be on a hero to lower the cooldown of your abilities. So I really liked that. And
right.
So those were the things. So yeah, the build, you're looking at is pretty similar to the ones that I was kind of thinking, but I think I had the total annihilation at 16 instead. I like the fact that you're going a laser hybrid, though. I'm really liking that idea. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
So definitely. All right, so tell me what's going to happen in the next 4 minutes of this game. I know you said this game was a tough one, and you really wanted to talk about this one. So let's. You've got the controls of this. Let me know what I should be looking for.
Sure. Yeah. So in this one, I was just kind of, I was just messing around with some talents, experimenting, see how things worked out. And there were a couple points in this game where I got a lot of good. Wrath bombardment synergies off. I want to see if I could highlight some of those. I tried slowing some down earlier. I think one happens soon. But yeah, I was kind of just messing around with my level 13, 16 talent, see how these guys hold up. Yeah, this particularly, we actually ended up losing this game. I just picked this replay because I really wanted to show off some of the Azmo's new combos. We ended up losing this game because we were just messing around. Like I said, we made an easily avoidable mistake of fighting when we didn't have to. But so in the next team fight here, let me see if I can show you. Pay close attention. I'm going to attempt to dunk and then show you the bombardment spread amplification after this. Let's see if it happens in this team fight. So we actually mess up here because Zag was doing what she was supposed to be doing. We just wanted to fight, I was just excited. I was just looking at my new abilities. I just wanted to team fight. I just wanted to show these guys the new abilities. I think one of our supports ended up getting caught.
Yeah, I can definitely see in this game you're playing a lot more aggressive than I normally see you in this.
Right. Yeah. Oh
absolutely. Yeah, the auto attacks crit and the basic attacks are critting for 600 right now.
Yep. So I think I actually. Here, I get a dunk here and an auto spread. Do you see that auto spread?
I did.
Right there? That's
600 damage.
AOE damage.
Unreal.
Now,
so your Q hit for nearly 1,000, and then your basic attack hit for 600. That's 1,600 damage in such a short period of time. Definitely powerful.
But yeah, unfortunately, none of them did end up falling down, but that's a good 80–90% of their health bars.
It's an incredible amount of damage. And definitely, I see you playing way more aggressively than you normally play. I could see that you're just trying to see what's working, what's not. And because I remember I've played with you a couple times in Hero League before, and normally you're very careful, you're very precise, and I can tell you're really just you're throwing everything out there just to see what you can do with these new builds. So it's very interesting to see. But yeah, I think this is a pretty awesome game. I mean, you win and loss, it happens. It definitely happens. No biggie. But yeah, I think that's awesome. So the auto attack build's what you were rolling with. You like that one. It does seem like that's the one that I personally think that one does a stupid amount of damage right now. Do you feel like there's any piece of him that might get nerfed before there's actually a release?
It's tough to say nerfed. What I could see is maybe a little bit of damage. They already nerfed his health right now. Much more to nerf. I really couldn't see them nerfing too much. The only possible thing, maybe like some minor dunk damage, if anything. Maybe a little less auto attack damage. That's about it. If anything, I think he needs a little buffs, little bit tweaking. He still has a little bit of way to go here, but he's very close. I'm very proud. I'm very excited for what they've done so far. I'm so happy to be playing new Azmo. He just definitely needs a little tweak, some super minor things, some super minor numbers tweaks. I think he needs. I think they took away a little bit too much health. They could probably give him some health back. They could also buff his level 16% damage dunk talent maybe a little bit. They could buff trample, that'd be nice. And seriously, taking a look at Titus N, if there's anything you do, I don't know if any Blizzard employees watching this. First of all, great job. I love it. But if there's anything that could happen to Azmo, please take a look at Titus N. Please do something about Titus N. And that needs to be looked at again. If there's anything you can do. I know it's so easy for me to sit here and just say, oh yeah, do this, do that. I know it's so much harder to do it than I'm making it seem. But please, if there's anything you can do, maybe just some tweaks there. That's all I could suggest mainly.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I saw it and I was like, that seems a lot more boring than pool. But
Right.
all of that aside, I thank you so much, Procraft, for helping me do this video.
Thank
I
you.
love your insight on him. And again, you have, I don't even know, what was it? Something like 2,100 games of Azmodan.
Yes, it's
And
something like that.
it's
I'll
something
have to go back
ridiculous. And I know, and again, if anyone who's watching this, ask any GM player who Procraft plays, and they will all tell you who Procraft plays. So, Procraft, now this is kind of your part of the video.
Sure.
I want to thank you again for doing this, but let everyone know what you've got going on. Do you have a stream? Do you have a Twitter? How can we follow you? How can we watch you play Azmodan now that he's going to have this new rework, and we can see your new styles of play on this newly reworked hero?
Yeah, absolutely. So mostly I stream on Twitch. I play Asmo as often as I possibly can. Right now, almost every day, every other day, I'm streaming on Twitch. So please, if you're interested in Asmo or just interested in any Grandmaster game, I'll be there. Just please come stop by. I promise I won't bite. No, it's really nice. Yeah, I'm streaming most days. Actually, next week, I believe I'm assuming Asmo's coming out next week on Tuesday. So during Asmo's release, I'm actually doing an Azmodan cosplay. So if you're interested, follow me on Twitch, and you'll see me doing the cosplay the day Asmo gets released. So I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out. So
Azmodan cosplay, yeah, that's going to be something.
Cosplay. I think maybe the first one done. I've tried seeing if anybody else.
I mean, I'm sure if we Googled it, we might be able to find something. But the first one definitely done on stream, and the first one done in a long time, because that's going to be crazy. Yeah. So definitely, guys, check out Procraft's stream. I'm going to have the links of everything in the description down below, so you can make sure to check all of those out. And yes, I believe the new event, which Azmodan is going to be reworked to the new event, should be next week on Wednesday, I believe, and I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments below if I am wrong. Should be Wednesday. That is when they're starting their new. I can't remember what the event's called, but it's like a Mad Max themed styled event, and there's going to be new skins available. There's going to be the 2 new reworked heroes, as well as a new event to play. What I will say for everyone is, while the Warcraft event will be over, the skins are going to be staying in the game. So if you haven't picked up the skins, no worries about those. They're going to stay in the game. This event here, from my understanding, the event skins are also going to stay in the game after the event. So no rush on any of these, but they are some pretty killer skins. So definitely. But yeah, again, Procraft, all of the stuff is going to be down below. And once again, I really appreciate you doing this video with me. I really wanted to make sure that it wasn't just me, a guy who's like, I think level 9 on Azmodan. I wanted to make sure there was someone who was actually an expert who was looking at this rework objectively. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's been great.
And all the viewers, feel free to subscribe. Check out any of my other videos. I've got videos on all the other reworks. I've got Rainer stuff. I've got Azmodan stuff. I've got all the talents and everything explained. So feel free to check out all of those. And thank you all for watching.